Do you feel like there is just literally never enough time of the day to get everything that you want done? Do you know that it's actually December now? And heck, you look back and think, I haven't even fulfilled my 2023 New Year's resolution yet. You look at it and you're like, nah, screw it. I'm just gonna leave it till next year. That just feels bad, man. Don't leave it till next year. You still have time. I found these 8 tips to help me manage my time in the way that I can consistently study, consistently write articles for my affiliate site, post YouTube videos and TikTok videos, all while I'm still working a 60-hour week as a doctor. Here's how I do it. Step number 1 to consistently find time to do things you want to do while working a full-time job is to define the purpose. That just means you need to remember why you started in the first place, because if you don't have the purpose, you don't have the passion, and you don't know the reason why you do certain things, you know, you're just gonna burn out at the end of the day. That's the stuff that gets you through when times are dark, when you try to procrastinate, or when you're about to give up. So for example, med school is very time demanding. Med school is a long degree. It involves a lot of student loan, but you know, when times get hard, you want to remember the end goal. You are the one who wants to become a doctor. Step number 2 is to be aware of your mindset. When you come back home from a very long day, an 8-hour shift or 10 for some people, you come home and anything that is less than entertaining, it requires some brain work, automatically your brain will want to label that as work after work. The problem with labeling those things as work is that your brain just automatically doesn't want to do it anymore. A good example for me when it comes to filming YouTube videos and posting videos, I really enjoyed the process despite it being time consuming, but at the end of the day, it was really fulfilling and I loved it. But as soon as it became a commitment where I had to consistently create content at least once a week or once a fortnight, my mindset really just shifted. Unconsciously, I started labeling filming YouTube videos as work, and I found it really hard to even look forward to that. And as soon as I found that that was how I was looking at it, I tried to shift the perspective of how I looked at it and really focus on the fact that I'm really enjoying this process and that doing this was my goal to start off with. And look, if you did step 1 right, which is defining your purpose, then you know that doing this is part of your purpose. So you're not wasting that time battling in your mind that you don't want to do this. The third way to consistently study while having a full-time job is to set goals and make plans. What I do is that I will set a few big goals for the quarter, and then every week I will look back at my quarterly goals and plan out my weeks ahead in order to get closer and closer to that big overarching goal. One tip that I do have to give is that while you're making these goals, make sure that you are making measurable goals so that you can measure your progress. For example, one of my quarterly goals is to get 100 YouTube subscribers, and thanks to you who you're watching at the moment and who have clicked like and subscribe, I have reached 100 subscribers. So that was one of my quarterly goals, and in order to get to those and for my weekly goals, I knew that I needed to post regularly, which is at least 1 new video per week or per fortnight, as well as repurposing that video for a reel or for a TikTok. And besides that, also studying how I should get more views, improving my skills in writing better hooks, writing better descriptions, and creating better thumbnails. So those sort of things that I knew were things I needed to do to be able to hit my overarching quarterly goal. What my week would look like for each week is that maybe the first week I would create a content video, and then the second week, which is an alternating week, I would create reels or TikToks from that first video, and then the third week I would create new content for that video again. And amongst those weeks, I will also schedule in study sessions to be able to improve how I do things for elements of the videos for it to get more views. Step number 4 on how to better manage your time so that you can get more things done is to pre-schedule your week. Now, on every Sunday when I decide on what my weekly goals are, I convert all those goals into a to-do list and just chuck it into that new week in Google Calendar. So I know exactly what I need to do for that whole week, and I don't have to spend every day sitting down and planning it, because you can waste so much time at the start of each day contemplating whether or not you want to do that task or whether or not it's necessary, because that is procrastination in itself. You do have to be realistic about how much time you allocate for each task. Don't overestimate or underestimate the time that you need. I do find that though, a lot of P personalities do better when there is a time restriction and there is a deadline. But for me though, I know that having a very strict time makes me very stressed, and I know that because of my personality I am less flexible. Life is unpredictable. Sometimes I have to work overtime if I end up reviewing really sick patients, or maybe I have friends or my boyfriend wants to take me out for an impromptu date. I want to be able to do those things and feel that my timetable allows me to do that. I like having a less rigid structure in order to do things and have a bit more leeway, and I find that that works better for me. The fifth way to be able to manage your time properly and effectively is to do time blocking. So what time blocking is basically blocking bits of the day or the week with certain tasks that you do. I usually do this by looking at my to-do list for the week or for the day and ranking them from the hardest, i.e. the ones that need the most mental energy, versus to the bottom of the list, which is the easiest task and you don't really need a lot of mental energy to do that. So we all know that at certain times of the day we are at our 100% where we are most productive, and we want to maximize that to create the maximal output. When I was studying for exams in medical school, I knew that mornings work the best for me. In the morning my battery is at 100%, so I would try to practice exam papers under 3 hours, and I knew those were the most time consuming and required the most energy, so that came first in the day. And then after lunch my energy level was about like say 60%, and then I'll do something a little bit taxing, going through those exam papers, marking it and finding my weaknesses and revising on those topics. So then that leads me to the evening after having dinner. You know, you'd be lucky if my energy level is at like 30%. So I would schedule in things like doing past medicine or quizzing other people, quizzing with my friends, and because I found those quite entertaining, quite fun and easy on my brain to do, and yet, you know, it is still contributing to learning as well. If you're finding this helpful, please click the like button and subscribe. I also have a video on how to study when you're tired, and I will link that description below, as well as click that link here to learn more about how to study best when you're tired. Number 6 is to set up a routine or a ritual. So for example, for a study routine, if you figured out the golden study routine that works every time for you, then stick to it and don't deviate from that. For me, it was actually finding out that there was this particular spot in the library that worked really well for me, and I was in my comfy clothes listening to lo-fi music, having lots of paper around and colored pens and doing mind maps. So every time I do that, I know I'm gonna get shit done. So it's more about conditioning your brain to think that every time you get in that state, that physical environment, you're going to do the task that you set out to do. And if you do it every single time and try not to screw it up by procrastinating or introducing other variables to it, then it's actually really easy to get into flow state. Tip number 7 to effectively time manage is to do what we call habit stacking. So this is something new that I just learned from reading the book Atomic Habits, and what they say is the quickest way to build a new habit into your life is to stack it on top of a current habit, which means that in order to create a new habit, you pair it with something that you do effortlessly already. It just makes it so much easier. For example, I found that to go gym more regularly, which is something that is quite important for me. I do enjoy gymming, but I don't love it. But I know what I love. I love listening to Jay Shetty podcasts. Shout out to Jay Shetty. His podcasts are just the best thing ever. Anyway, where was I up to? So, in order to get myself to the gym, I would say if you want to listen to Jay Shetty podcasts, you have to go to the gym. So I would never let myself listen to any podcasts in that period of time until I went to the gym. And that worked really, really well. I don't do that anymore, but initially that was what I needed to get that habit going. The 8th way to get more time for yourself to do the things that are important to you is to actually eliminate unhelpful things. Did you know that we spent 8 years of our life in front of the TV, 3 years of our life scrolling on social media, and 7 years of our life trying to get to sleep, tossing and turning? How crazy is that? Imagine how much you can achieve in those 18 years if you eliminated those things. The best way that I found to create more time for myself is actually just to cut down on the times that I spend on these entertainment. I literally have not watched like proper TV since I've moved to New Zealand from Malaysia, just because we've never really bought ourselves like a good TV because they're pretty expensive. Like everything was pretty expensive when we first moved to New Zealand, but besides the point. And I would probably watch like 1 or 2 Chinese drama once a year, watch 2 or 3 movies throughout the year so that I can keep my partner happy. Some of you might think, oh my god, like that's actually like a pretty sad life that you don't have any entertainment. But that's just not how I see it. Like the things that I find entertaining that actually align with my quarterly goals as well are things like exercising, and I really enjoy socializing with people face to face, not just on social media. I also enjoy listening to podcasts and reading books. Look, I'm not saying that don't use social media, because heck, of course I do. I use social media all the time too. All I'm trying to say is that you need to be aware that when you say you don't have time, really you do. It's just that you're actively choosing not to do the things that are important to you instead. Right, so those were the 8 time management tips that I found super effective to make sure that I'm able to do the things that I want to do in alignment with my goals. I hope that this video was helpful to you, and if so, please comment below and let me know what you think. And if you like this video, please like and subscribe. I would really appreciate that. Thanks for watching, guys. See you later.